Welcome to That's Good Broncos. Okay, so it's come to my attention that after Percy Harvin returned the opening kick right after halftime for a touchdown, I went from 0 to blackout and began disassociating myself from the Broncos' loss by believing it was 1998 again, and I may have uploaded an episode using the footage from Super Bowl 32 when the Broncos won. I just want to apologize for that and say I'm back. Sobering up. That's why I got my water cup right now. And I am ready to deal with what happened. Last night was hands down one of the worst losses I have ever been a part of as a Broncos fan. I'm not sure when I will fully recover from the loss, but for the time being, I'm coping with blame. We should have won that game. Well, we should have at least been competitive. Looking back at the game, which we will not do, you can blame the endless amount of mistakes the Broncos made as the reason we lost. You can blame the strong execution by the Seattle team and lackluster performance by the Broncos for the loss, but you'd be wrong, dead wrong. The reason we lost was because of Joe fucking Namath.
Joe Namath to toss the coin. All right. Seattle's a losing team. Who's going to call the toss? Tails. He calls tails.
If it weren't for Joe Namath fucking up the first coin toss, we would have won the game. That one screw up, forcing a second toss, allowed the Seahawks to win the coin toss.
Tails. That was a good catch. It is tails.
They deferred, which is what we like to do, forcing us to take the opening kick, which in turn led to the opening bad snap and safety, which ultimately set the tone for the entire game. So Joe Namath, I hope you have a hard time sleeping at night, buddy, knowing you're the reason we lost the game. You son of a bitch, Joe Namath. You're a son of a bitch. A son of a bitch. How long did you play football? Was that the first coin toss you'd ever seen? Way to ruin my dreams, Joe. I'm not gonna do that. I am not gonna do that. I wish I was a bigger and better man, but right now, I'm an emotional wreck. I am barely keeping it together. The shittiest part was not the loss, but it was the fact that we played the worst football I've seen since the Patriots destroyed the Tebow-led Broncos in the playoffs a couple years ago. Fortunately, I was too young to really be affected by the Broncos' first 4 Super Bowl losses, and now I know that a Super Bowl loss feels even worse than I would have ever imagined. Besides feeling like I want to throw up every 20 minutes and having no desire to continue to function as a normal human being, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Okay, first, I want to say thanks for all of the support. You guys were really, really nice to me on Twitter and Facebook right after the loss, and that helped a little bit. But the coolest part about doing this show all year has been that I've had the opportunity to connect with more Bronco fans than I thought was ever possible. I want to thank the people who came in late in the season and watched all of the old episodes, the people at the Orange Main and the Broncos Reddit page. You guys have been super cool and huge motivating factors for me to keep making episodes. I'm really grateful to connect with all of you and to know that we all love the Broncos. And even more than loving the Broncos, we love saying fuck you to Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers. That's where I think we really started to bond. But here's the good news. There is good news. The Broncos play the NFC North next season. We're going to have an extremely tough schedule, which means when we get back to the Super Bowl, we will have faced tough NFC defenses that will most likely also be back in the Super Bowl next year. We will know how to play them this time. Besides the million mistakes we made Sunday night, we were unprepared for the physicality of the Seattle defense. Sucks to say, but it was true. Our weak schedule from this season hurt us tremendously, And I refuse to admit it during the season, but we played the easiest schedule of all the 32 NFL teams. That bit us in the ass, just like a bad cellmate. The other bright side of the loss is that I guarantee Peyton Manning will be back. I mean, he was probably already going to come back anyway, but there's no way he's ending his career on a game like that. Another season with Peyton fucking Manning should have all of us excited for the 2014 season. But finally, none of us, no matter how bad we feel, cannot feel as bad as Floyd Mayweather and the $10 million he lost on the game. So there's always that to remember. The way I see it, we were 15-4 on the entire season. That's pretty fucking good. Out of 19 weeks this season, we walked away on top 15 of those times. 15 of those weeks, we were filled with joy at the end of the game. That's pretty awesome. Not only that, but we scored more points than any other team ever, making all of the wins extremely fun to watch. So, let's try to be thankful for that. You gotta keep perspective. Anyway, thanks again for joining me this season. It was a blast. It was a lot of hard fucking work on my end, making all of these goddamn videos every week, but it was totally worth it. I'm gonna take probably a couple weeks off to medicate with some serious depression pills and return to keep you updated on all the perfect off-season moves I'm sure the Broncos will be making. And I got a couple ideas for some other things I'm gonna do on this channel, so don't forget to fucking check in. Especially if you like Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna do a Game of Thrones show. Spoiler alert. Don't forget to subscribe. I also wanted to thank Evan Gurule. I think that's how you say your name, for making this awesome drawing of what some people consider the most perfect face on earth. Mine. My face. Thanks, Evan. You're a very talented artist, and you have a solid eye for picking interesting things to draw.